Good evening and a warm welcome to you here on Newswatch on this 22nd April 2022. Indeed, it is a sad day for all Kenyans as it marks the day when the third President Mwai Kibaki rested. We have a comprehensive bulletin prepared on Kibaki's political career, Kenyans celebrating a life well lived and his 10-year legacy as president from 2002 to 2013. My name is Grace Songoi and our sign language interpreter tonight is Boniface Mureithi. Let's begin. Now, Kenyans of all walks of life have eulogized former President Mwai Kibaki as a great economist who will be remembered for steering the country into economic prosperity during his tenure, an advocate for peaceful coexistence in the country and the African continent, and also a visionary leader who had a great sense of humor. The news of the passing on of Kibaki was, however, received by profound shock by Kenyans, as to many he was just not a leader but a national father figure. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, President Uhuru Kenyatta has stated that the period of mourning will last until Kibaki is finally laid to rest, and he will be accorded a state funeral with full military honors.
The news of the passing on of the third president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, which was announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House on Friday, was received by profound shock and sadness by a majority of Kenyans, with many eulogizing him as a visionary leader who had a sense of humor and an iconic economist who turned around Kenya's economy. A number of Kenyans in disbelief flocked to Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi, where Kibaki's body is being preserved, but the presence of heavy security by the Kenya Defence Forces at the morgue only allowed selected high-profile leaders to view the body.
Huyu mzee hakika aliendeleza nchi yetu katika hali nzuri sana economics, kwa sababu ukiangalia vile economy ilikuwa wakati wake, kwa hiyo miaka 10 ambayo aliongoza, hakika hatukufinyika sana na maisha kama saa hii.
Kibaki ni president ambaye hakuwa na mambo mingi. Yeye aliendeleza serikali yake miaka 10 bila kupigana na mtu, na alifanya kazi mzuri sana. Barabara tuko nayo kama Thika Road, Eastern Bypass, Northern Bypass. So yani Kibaki amefungua nchi.
Huyo mzee alikuwa mzee sifapu, alifanya kazi mzuri, aliunganisha Kenya yetu, hata vile tuko sababu yake. Tunatambua yeye, tunashukuru kazi yake vile alifanya. Tunaomba viongozi wengine waige mfano wake, kwa sababu ni mzee alisimama kabisa katika Kenya hii, na tuliona uongozi wake vyema katika Kenya yetu.
Alikuwa mzee mwenye heshima kubwa sana, na tunamheshimu. Tulikuwa tunaheshimu huyo mzee vizuri sana, because katika utawala yake alionyesha amani ya kutosha, na ni mtu alikuwa anasikisa watu vizuri, na ni mtu alitaka nchi ya Kenya ikae kwa amani. Na kitu kingine alifanya maana sana ni kutuletea ile masomo ya bure, watoto wakasoma free, akapeana hata shule ikajengwa vizuri sana katika nchi yetu, na hakuwa na ukabila. Kulingana vile niliona mzee Kibaki, hakusema maana ati hukumchagua kwako hakutakunja CDF. Alitengeneza Kenya ikawa inakula keki moja yote.
Many Kenyans say they will remember Kibaki for boosting the education sector by introducing free primary school education in the year 2003, where over 1 million children benefited from the program. Kenya's growth of infrastructure and other projects like the Thika Superhighway is also in the list of many other things that Kenyans say will remember Kibaki for.
As a young Kenyan, I'm saddened, and still his memory will still always be in our hearts for the good things he has done for the country. I'm one of the beneficiaries of the free primary education, and you can see the impact it has done in our education system.
Kwa kweli tumepata mshtuko kwamba mzee wetu ametuacha, na tunakumbuka yeye kama ni kiongozi ambaye aliweza kuunganisha Wakenya. Tunakumbuka hayati Kibaki kama ni kiongozi ambaye aliweza kuboresha uchumi ya Kenya hii. Tunakumbuka yeye kwa ule uongozi wake ambaye aliweza kujumuisha kila mtu katika uongozi wake. Vile vile kwa mambo ya masomo kwa wanafunzi wetu masomo ya bure, aliweza kuinua mambo haya.
Na hakuwa mzee mwenye mambo mengi, yeye alikuwa anafanya kazi akiwa amenyamaza na akiwa ana hata vita na mtu yoyote.
Nakumbuka mzee Rais Kibaki kwamba yeye ndiye alileta uchumi wa nchi yetu, na pia aliongoza nchi yetu bila kuwa na cartels. Nchi ilikuwa imeenda chini economically, but he brought up the economy until the time of his retirement. The economy was very stable.
The National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, who is also the Democratic Party leader, which was founded by former President Mwai Kibaki, has said that Kibaki leaves an indelible print in the journey of Kenya's economic transformation and has earned his place in the history of the making of the great nation.
As you all know, President Kibaki is the founder of this party, and his legacy in this country is very, very deep. We appreciate, for instance, his great contribution towards the socio-economic progress of this country, both as a foremost economist and leader, whom, as perhaps many Kenyans may not know, was the longest serving legislator who served beyond 5 decades uninterrupted.
President Kenyatta has stated that the period of mourning will last until Mwai Kibaki is laid to rest, and he will be accorded a state funeral with full military honors. 90 years later, the curtains have fallen on Kenya's third president, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, but his memories, as many have put it, will forever remain in the hearts of Kenyans. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Thank you, Kennedy, for beginning our bulletin. Now, meanwhile, Mombasa residents have received with sadness the death of former President Mwai Kibaki. They have eulogized him as an astute leader who will forever be remembered for his calm style of leadership. Let's listen to some of the sentiments from the coast.
Niko na huzuni sana kusikia aliyekuwa rais wetu Kibaki amefariki. Nitamkumbuka kwa vile alituletea free education, na pia alisaidia ekonomi ya Kenya ilikuwa inarani vizuri. Sasa hii ekonomi ya Kenya imeharibika kabisa. Hata mimi mwenyewe mfanyabiashara sasa hii, yani unaenda tu kimungu. Naenda tu hivyo. Lakini wakati Kibaki alikuwa, biashara zilikuwa nzuri.
Alipokuwa rais Kibaki, Mombasa ilikuwa ni raha mstarehe, hakuna shida. Kwa hivyo tutamkumbuka sana Kibaki. Mungu amrehemu.
Moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has led Kenyans in mourning its former president, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, saying Kibaki earned the abiding respect of Kenyans and other nations throughout the world in Kenya's post-independence history. The president, who spoke at State House in Nairobi, announced a period of national mourning until the interment of the former president. Meanwhile, a funeral steering committee has been formed to make funeral arrangements for former President Mwai Kibaki. Tony Omonde reports.
A father of the nation has rested. The man that led this country for 10 years as president, 5 decades as member of parliament, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, rested on Friday. A dark cloud befell the nation, with emotions running high as President Uhuru Kenyatta made the announcement from State House, Nairobi. The former and the third president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, died aged 90.
It is my sorrowful duty to announce to the nation the passing on of His Excellency Emilio Mwai Kibaki, the third president. His Excellency Mwai Kibaki lived a dedicated life of service, and we salute a notable father figure in the chronicles of our nation. A leader who strove so hard and accomplished so much for this country. A nation he so deeply cherished and served with commitment and an unbending will to improve the lives of our people. As we mourn this immeasurable loss, We recall with eternal gratitude President Kibaki's patriotic journey in service to his country, which can be traced back to Kenya's fight for liberation.
While announcing Kibaki's death, Kenyatta recalled Kibaki's long public service, including being an official leader of opposition.
As a university lecturer, a legislator, member of parliament for 5 decades, a cabinet minister, vice president, official leader of the opposition, and finally, as the 3rd president of the Republic of Kenya, Emilio Mwai Kibaki was a quintessential patriot whose legacy of civic responsibility will continue to inspire generations of Kenyans.
Even as President Kenyatta leads the nation in paying tribute to the family of Mwai Kibaki, the president has declared a mourning period until Kibaki's burial, with flags now flying at half-mast in honor of the late president. President Kibaki, who was the first leader of opposition in the country, will be given a state funeral with full military honors.
That the president, the deputy president, the chief justice, cabinet secretaries, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the Senate, Kenya's diplomats abroad, and whomsoever else is so authorized by law, national flag on their official motorcade from today sunset on the day of his internment.
Meanwhile, leaders across the political divide have eulogized the late President Mwai Kibaki as an accomplished leader who sacrificed a lot for the country. Speaking in Nairobi, ODM leader Raila Odinga described his former boss as a great statesman who contributed greatly to the country's economy and politics. This even as Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka recalled his rich history with Kibaki, lauding his leadership style that led to the growth of the economy.
May the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace.
Kumpoteza mzee Kibaki wakati kama huu ni kama kusema kweli zote tunajisikia kwamba tuko yatima. Tungekuwa hata tukielekea uchaguzi ujao, mzee Kibaki angalau angekuwa nasi, wakati mwingine tungemshauri, tungeuliza ushauri wake. Vile tulisema wakati ule unbwaggable nation, that time tulikosema kwamba Kibaki anatosha.
Deputy President William Ruto, who has since suspended his campaigns for 3 days to mourn the fallen hero, said Kibaki inspired many leaders and transformed the country in immeasurable ways. The DP, who served in Kibaki's cabinet as Agriculture Minister, said the former leader was a great mentor, farm guide and a tireless manager.
On behalf of the Kenya Kwanza team, my brother Musalia, my brother Weta, Malala, Khalwale, and all the leaders who are here. From this forum, where we are discussing the economy of our country, we pay tribute to our 3rd president, President Mwai Kibaki, an outstanding economist, a man who has distinguished himself with a great legacy that he has left behind. An accomplished Kenyan, a man who we all respect as our 3rd president, a person almost all of us here worked with as his ministers. Today, as Kenya, we have lost a great son of our country and a great leader.
Other leaders such as NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua, Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua, Baringo Senator Gideon Moi took to the social media to express their condolences to the country and the family of President Mwai Kibaki. Meanwhile, a national funeral steering committee has been formed to make funeral arrangements for former President Mwai Kibaki. Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyo said the committee shall comprise representatives of the government and the third president's family. The team will convene on Saturday for its inaugural meeting and will in due course issue a detailed program of the events leading up to the state funeral. According to Kenya, all Kenyans shall be accorded an opportunity to participate in paying their last respects to the former head of state and government. Tony Omondi for Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Tony, for that report. Now, the late former President Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki will be remembered for his government's great achievements, specifically in the economy, education and infrastructure sectors in the country. During President Kibaki's 10-year tenure, the economy took off as Kenya's GDP grew from a low 0.6% in 2002 to 5% in 2010. At the same time, the formulation of the Vision 2030 blueprint offered a roadmap for structural transformation of the country. Tess Njenga has the details.
Former President Mwai Kibaki laid a firm foundation on economic growth and development, which has not yet been matched since. President Kibaki also presided through a period in which the country's heavily invested into modernization and development of infrastructures like roads, airports, railways, ports, energy and telecommunications, such as the construction of the Thika superhighway. President Kibaki engaged the private sector more in infrastructure development, which encouraged the government to invest further, lessening Kenya's reliance on development partner funding and borrowing. Kibaki stressed on the importance of countries in East Africa undertaking projects that cut across the region for the benefit of the bloc. In the education sector, Kibaki's government decision to abolish school fees for primary education was a huge milestone. The free education program saw nearly 1.7 million more pupils enroll in school by the end of that year. President Mwai Kibaki said that was one way of raising the most educated and skilled generation of Kenyans by the year 2030. His government also established 6 additional constituent colleges, namely Kisii, Chuka, Pwani, Kenya Polytechnic, Kimathi Institute and Mombasa Polytechnic to increase capacity for more higher education students. The former president committed to raising up a well-educated, innovative and highly competitive generation of Kenyans. At the time of his swearing in, economic growth was crawling towards stagnation at a mere less than 2%, while close to 60% of the population lived in poverty. The improved management of the economy during Kibaki's presidency has seen Kenya's gross domestic product (GDP) grow from a low 0.6% in 2002 to 3% in 2003, 4.9% in 2004, 5.8% in 2005, 6% in 2006, and 7% in 2007. In 2008, however, it slowed to 1.8% before climbing to 2.8% in 2009 and 5% in 2010. The slowdown was attributed to the disputed elections of 2008, but one can easily sum that the recovery was significant compared to near collapse witnessed during the time of his predecessor. Revenue collected tripled from 200 billion Kenya shillings in 2002 to 600 billion, as a total of 1.7 million Kenyans were connected to the national electricity grid, compared to 500,000 in 2002, and 18 million more Kenyans got access to financial services compared to less than 1 million when he started. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Now, one cannot mention former President Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki without mentioning his long career serving in Parliament. By his retirement from State House in 2013, he had clocked 50 years as a parliamentarian. The 50 years include his time as a Member of Parliament, Minister, Vice President, Leader of Government Business, Leader of Official Opposition, and President. He rose from a humble background, the son of peasant farmers who, much to the shock of many, rose to great prominence both politically and academically in post-independence Kenya. From a young age, he stood out as intelligent, with a willingness to learn, and in 1947 qualified to study at the prestigious Mangu High School in Kiambu County. He continued to rise in academics and won a scholarship to Makerere University in 1951 in Uganda, where he pursued a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics, history, and political science. Being a stellar performer, he graduated top of his class 4 years later with a first-class honors. While in Makerere, his leadership skills began to show as he served as the vice chairman of the Makerere Students' Guild between 1954 and 1955. He continued his education in London School of Economics from 1955 to 1958, where he excelled in economics and public finance, graduating with distinction. Upon his return to East Africa, Kibaki then served his alma mater, Makerere University, as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Economics from 1958 to 1960. His debut in active politics began in 1960 when he left Makerere University and joined the Kenya African National Union KANU party as he sought greater impact in national politics. After Kenya gained independence in 1963, he won a seat in the National Assembly for Donholm constituency, now Makadara in Nairobi County. By 1965, his career went a notch higher when he was appointed Minister of Commerce and Industry and continued climbing the ranks to be the Minister of Finance between 1969 and 1982. His economics background had prepared him to navigate his complex docket. Upon Daniel Arap Moi's rise to presidency in 1978, Kibaki was appointed Vice President and trusted with the finance portfolio, only to later be dismissed in 1988 and replaced by Josephat Karanja. In September 2002, Kibaki joined a group of notable politicians including Raila Odinga, Charity Ngilu and Michael Wamalwa in forming the National Rainbow Coalition, NAC, a multi-party alliance that nominated Kibaki as its presidential candidate. A few weeks before the election, Kibaki was involved in a car accident and suffered serious injuries. Although he was confined to a wheelchair, he continued his campaign and easily defeated Moi's chosen successor, Uhuru Kenyatta, to become the third president of the Republic of Kenya. Grace Wangoi for TV Newswatch. Moving on, the Azimio One Kenya Alliance has officially unveiled its political lineup for Nairobi City County ahead of the August 9th general elections. Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga said Jubilee's Polycarp Igathe will fly the gubernatorial flag and will be deputized by former Kibwezi MP Philip Kaloki, who is from the Kalonzo Musyoka-led Wiper Democratic Movement Party. Announcing the new lineup on Friday, Raila announced that Tim Wanyonyi officially dropped his gubernatorial bid and will defend his Westlands parliamentary seat. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna has been handed the senatorial ticket, while incumbent Esther Passaris will fly the women representative flag.
We shall respect the decision because at the end of the day, these are our leaders, and whatever decisions or what they want us to do, we shall follow.
It's not about me, it's not about us, it's about the people of Nairobi. So the people of Nairobi are ready to decide who will lead them, who will be their leader. But we also respect the decision of our leaders. whatever decision that they arrive at, we shall respect.
The governor candidate is going to be Mr. Polycarp Igathe. He will be deputized by Professor Kaloki. We will have a senator candidate, Mr. Edwin Sifuna. Then the women representative is going to be Madam Esther Passaris. As you know that there are other members of our coalition who had expressed the desire to become governors. One of them is Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi. And Timothy Wanyonyi has made a decision to step down from the governorship contest and to go back and contest his seat as a member of the National Assembly for Westlands constituency. The other candidate was Mr. Richard Ngatia. Richard Ngatia has also graciously agreed to step down in favor of Honorable Mr. Polycarp Igathe, and Richard Ngatia is going to be appointed as the President's Special Envoy on Trade with immediate effect.
Let's do one more story before we go for our first break. Now, meanwhile, Nairobi UDA gubernatorial aspirant Johnson Sakaja has reacted to the Azimio Oka Nairobi's lineup. Speaking in Nairobi, Sakaja said Igathe has been imposed on Nairobians, saying he's confident he will defeat him.
I am confident the people of Nairobi will make the right choice. I don't take it for granted. Our work is to go and convince them as to why they need to choose us for the position of governor of Nairobi. I am not one to chest thump or to be contemptuous the way they have been on the other side by imposing a candidate. There's the People's Project and there's a project of the Deep State and State House. I think Nairobians know the difference and they'll make their choice on the 9th of August.
Let's now take that short break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available.
Amen.
And He will make you able and capable.
Families Under God, Sundays at 8:30 p.m. only on Hope TV.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, the handing over of a direct ticket to former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko by the Wiper Party to vie for Mombasa governorship has elicited mixed reactions in Mombasa. Sonko was handed the ticket by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka on Thursday, coming almost 2 weeks after the Musyoka-led party submitted Sonko's name to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) as one of those who had been cleared to run in the party's primaries. Our reporter Dolly Murigi, who is in Mombasa County, has this report.
The entry of former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko into Mombasa politics has caused jitters among politicians in the country, especially those seeking the governor's seat. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, during the handing over on Thursday, disclosed that Sonko will be deputized by Kisauni Member of Parliament Ali Mbogo. But Sonko's move has elicited reactions in Mombasa County, with some politicians and residents claiming that he is not eligible for the seat.
Changamoto ziko na wananchi, kura ziko kwa wananchi. Akija Mombasa akiuza sera zake vizuri, akitapambana na Abdusamad, and then let the best team or the best man win.
Sonko kukuja kung'ang'ania governor Mombasa County, nadhani amechelewa kidogo, kwa sababu tayari wapwani washa decide ni nani wataenda kumpatia. Wengi wa watu tayari washaamua Abdul Swamad wanaenda kumpatia.
Hii mambo ya Mike Sonko kupewa ticket Mombasa imekuwa ni ngumu sana, kwa sababu si mtu wa Machakama Mombasa muda mwingi, na tena kana alikuwa na kashfa ile ya Nairobi, ile ya kashfa kuporoka pesa ya ile Nairobi, ile account ya Nairobi. Hali itakuwa ni ngumu sana kupewa account huko Mombasa, kwa sababu ana kashfa bado na baada na kesi kotini.
Kome Ngutiko recently won the UDA nominations in Njambere Ward in Kisauni, says that it will depend on Sonko's manifesto on how he plans to grow Mombasa County in case he gets the seat.
Kwa majaliwa Mwenyezi Mungu achukue hiyo nafasi aye ndiye kiongozi wa Mombasa. Sisi hatuna bundi, bali lazima tuungane naye tuweze kushikana nao mkono, sababu uongozi si vita. Kile tumeingia kile kimetusukuma katika kuingia katika politics ni zile ajenda tuko nazo, ndio watu wetu waweze kusaidika. Na katika kusaidia watu wetu lazima kila mmoja aweze kuchukua ama kuplay part yake, sababu lazima tushikane mkono zote ndio wale watu wetu waweze kusaidika. Muhimu si ile kuongoza sana ama kushikilia ile kukalia kile kiti, ndio unaweza kalia kile kiti lakini hakina na manufaa kwa mwananchi ni cha nini.
Sonko is facing legal battles in court, including several corruption cases, assault and terrorist-linked offences that has since denied. In March, the United States government banned Sonko and his immediate family member from traveling to the US over corruption allegations related to abuse of office and bribery.
Mimi ni mzaliwa wa Pwani, mama yangu alizikwa Pwani, so naelewa Pwani zaidi kushinda kila mtu ule. Kwa hivyo wale wanasema ati Sonko ametoka bara Nairobi kwenda kuchukua kiti Mombasa, hao nafikiri wanapotesha wa Kenya.
Sonko is however confident that he will clinch the seat and succeed Governor Hassan Joho, who has since joined national politics. Mike Sonko will now battle it out against former Mombasa Senator Hassan Omar of UDA and Mvita Member of Parliament Abdul Somad Nasir of ODM, who are both eyeing the same seat. Dolly Murigi, Hope TV from Mombasa County.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, Ida Odinga has called on women to take up leadership positions in the next government. Speaking in Nairobi, Ida noted that women had for a long time underscored their capacity to lead. Ida vowed to give support to women going after elective positions in the coming general elections. At the same time, Ida took the opportunity to call on women to be at the forefront in preaching peace during the August polls.
When it comes to women in leadership, I cross the boundaries. It doesn't matter where you come from, I'll support you. It doesn't matter what religion you are, I'll support you. I cross the boundaries and I encourage them, because I know when a woman becomes a leader, she'll look at the plight of all the women, not only the women in their region. And you ladies who stood here, who are going to be leaders, please remember you are
going to represent women from all cadre, not just a section, whether they are in your party or not, whether they are in your religion or not. I know there are other things that separates us, but I would like you to work for the women.
Let's now move to Narok County, where leaders have demanded a speedy investigation into the murder of Norosura Group Ranch treasurer Simon Bulati, who died 2 weeks ago after being shot while on his way home. The leaders, led by Narok Governor Samuel Tunai and gubernatorial aspirant Patrick Olentutu, said those behind the heinous act should face serious consequences for the cold murder. Speaking during his burial in Kimelok area, Narosura ward in Narok South sub-county on Thursday, the leaders called on the government to ensure the gun used in the murder is repossessed.
Hii ni mara ya kwanza na ni uchungu sana a young person kama huyu vile imefanyika kupangiwa. Yeye alikuwa anaenda kwake bila shida yote, akapangiwa vile amekuwa amepangiwa. Ile sisi kama viongozi na hawa wananchi kwa niaba ya familia tunauliza ni kwamba no stone should be left unturned until all the culprits, all the perpetrators of this crime are brought to book. Each and everyone must be arrested. Now, this young lady called Helen today, who was a month ago very happy with her husband, today is mjane. Leo anaitwa mjane. Mama ambaye alikuwa na bwana yake hajui leo vile atalipa school fees. Sasa ni kusaidiwa. I think mungetoa condition ya kwanza kwamba hiyo watu even before mupatia wa ultimatum hiyo bunduki rudi within 1 week. Since you have the people and of course there is evidence, that's why you are taking them to court. Before even give them a condition, ultimatum of 1 week, walete kwanza bunduki. Yeah, before 1 week waambie kwanza walete hiyo bunduki, because hiyo bunduki wako naye, hata kama wamepeleka Tanzania, hata kama wamepeleka wapi, wacha warudishe kwanza hiyo bunduki, kwa sababu inamaanisha hiyo bunduki itarudi tu ifanye ile kazi ambayo walifanyia siku hiyo.
Tunaomba Mheshimiwa Gavana, viongozi wetu wote, fuatilieni kifo ya marehemu, kwa sababu amekufa kwa mkono ya watu ambayo tunasema ni hawa, na tumepeana ripoti. Na nashukuru kwamba sisi yayo county commissioner, county commandant, kila kitengo ya serikali imefuatilia.
Nashukuru kwa ile kazi ambayo OSPD amesema ya kwamba wamefuatilia.
The Tana and Athi Rivers Development Authority is in need of 1.6 billion shillings to revive the defunct 76,000-acre Tana Delta irrigation project in Gamba area, Tana River County. According to the authority's managing director, Liban Robaduba, the government was exploring ways to attract private investors once the necessary infrastructure is laid down, noting that the authority had a deliberate plan to use the 76,000 acres in agricultural activities, including rice farming, sugarcane farming, beekeeping, among others, before the collapse of the project.
This 36-kilometer channel is an ecosystem support structure for an entire ecosystem of 17 villages and 35,000 population of 35,000, going all the way downstream to the farm. So this beginning phase, with the support of the government, we have been able to put in 35 million to develop the intake at the Kitere Bellmouth, and also to desilt the earlier phases of the earlier phases of the channel.
Huge investment in terms of the milling plant, and which can do up to 7.5 tons per hour. Another one is able to, we have two. One is one ton per hour, the other one is 7.5 tons per hour. Because the potential of this place was realized that it can produce so much. We can use up to 12,000 acres of this particular place to produce rice.
Mradi ulileta manufaa sana, kwa sababu wakati mto ulikuwa umepitia juu, mashamba yalikauka, miembe ilikauka. Ukipitia upande huu wa nyuma hapa, utakuta miembe mingi imekauka kwa sababu ya ule mvuto wa maji. Lakini wakati TARDA wamepitisha maji yao hapa, in fact kwa sasa maembe yamekuwa mengi kwa sababu ya hiyo chemchemi ya maji. Kwa hivyo imetuletea faida sana.
Let's now move to Embu County, where increased cases of alcoholism and bang smoking are threatening family welfare and causing mental illness. This is according to Eastern Regional Commissioner Evans Achoki, who ordered chiefs to fight drug and substance abuse in the locations or face stern disciplinary action. Speaking to administration officials from Embu at the Embu Talent Academy, Achoki called on chiefs and assistant chiefs to investigate the reason for increased suicide cases and ensure aspirants are conducting their campaigns peacefully.
Wakati tunaelekea uchaguzi, lazima chiefs wahakikishe ya kwamba they maintain law and order katika area zao, kuhakikisha ya kwamba wananchi kila ambaye anataka kuwania kiti chochote anaendesha kampeni yake kwa utulivu bila shida yoyote. Hatutaki kuona visa ambavyo ni wa upotefu wa nidhamu ama visa ambavyo zinavunja sheria. Tunataka kila mtu aendeshe shughuli yake bila shida yoyote. Kumekuwa na vijana wengi, watu wengi kujitia kitanzi, na tumezungumzia kwa kirefu. Nimesema ya kwamba chifu waweze kuweka baraza kujaribu kuelewa ni nini ambayo inafanya watu wengi kujitia kitanzi, na pengine ni miadarati, hatujui, lakini ni jambo ambalo pia tumezungumzia kwa kirefu sana, na ni matumaini yangu ya kwamba kuanzia sasa watachukua jukumu hilo kujaribu kujua kila kisa ambacho mtu amejitia kitanzi ni sababu gani. Na tumekubaliana tutakuwa na record ya kila mwezi, kila chief atakuwa anatuambia katika location yake, katika sub location yake ni wangapi ambayo wamejitia kitanzi na kwa sababu gani, na tuweke mikutano kuelewa ni nini sababu ya hiyo. Pia mambo ya alcoholism, lazima chief na assistant chief wawe mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba katika sehemu zao hakuna mambo ya alcoholism ambaye wananchi wanatumia, hasa vijana wadogo.
Let's do one more story before we go for a second break. Police bosses in Narok County have been asked to embrace community policing so as to reduce gender-based violence during the electioneering period. Speaking during a two-day police training held in Narok, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of community policing, gender and child protection, Judy Lamet, noted that community policing was a key way of reducing GBV, which is usually high during the electioneering season. She encouraged members of the public to report suspicious criminal activities to the police.
During election time, there is usually high rates of GBV because also what happens is we have two maybe warring factions. Some people want these seats, others want these seats, and women at times left to be vulnerable. Most of you ask for the types of GBV. They include defilement, rape, indecent touching. There are so many, they are wide. Female genital mutilation, which is always done around also maybe this time. So it's an important time for us to be able to inform or to educate our own so that they are able to know how to deal with it. We have also taught them about prevention and how do you prevent that. We have taught them on how to embrace community policing, even together with the Nyumba Kumi initiative that is also a part of community policing, that they are able to give information of any suspicious activity or anything that is happening.
This has actually been an important session for us, all sub-county police commanders within Narok County, and it goes a long way to help us to be able to handle the assignment ahead of us. You are all aware that the election is just at the corner, and during election a lot of violence is meted, especially to the vulnerable. Vulnerable, I mean the women, the children, and even the disabled and the old. So we have actually been equipped during this training to be able to deal with it, to properly investigate such cases and prosecute them. And I want to say that all of us, on behalf of all the sub-county police commanders, are grateful for this particular moment, that the IG saw it worthy for us to undergo this training, and sponsors also were willing to be able to facilitate it. We are actually grateful, and I can promise you, media people, as you go out there, make sure you highlight it to the public and inform those who may be aggrieved in one way or another during the election that they have friends to help, that they have the service to be able to handle the challenges that they may encounter during the election.
Let's go for another short break, and Hope TV Newswatch will be back with the business and sports news.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Thank you for staying with us. Kenya Electricity Generating Company, PLC, KenGen, has completed drilling of the 7th geothermal well in Ethiopia, further bolstering the company's renewable energy footprint in the Horn of Africa. Making the announcement, KenGen Managing Director and CEO Rebecca Miano was impressed by the completion of the project despite the security situation in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian and Djibouti ventures are part of KenGen's ambitious diversification strategy, in which the company is seeking to acquire new revenue streams by offering commercial drilling services, geothermal consulting, and other related services across Africa. Now for some sports news. In preparation for the National 7 Circuits, KCB Rugby Club technical team is set to travel to South Africa for coaching and technical preparation training at the High Performance Center in Cape Town. The 5-person team, comprising head coach Curtis Olago, Andrew Amonde, Mariko Mushila, Brian Otieno and Brian Omondi, have been invited to Western Province Rugby and will leave the country on the 23rd of April and are expected back on the 4th of May so as to prepare for the upcoming 7 Circuits tournament.
Unfortunately, there was COVID, so we've not had a chance to improve ourselves as a team, as a coaching unit. This will really help us in preparation for the upcoming 15s season. For 7s, yes, we're preparing for it well, and might get 1 or 2 things there. But as you know, the 15th season is still going on, so that's what we are looking to build on. It is very beneficial because you get to see professionalism, which we are not yet at in Kenya. There, people train 8 to even 3 or 4. Everything is structured, everything is skill-wise. The material you get and the learning you get is, let's say, where we're trying to head as a country. So if we can learn a bit here and bring it back home, then that is a plus for both the bank and...
We've gotten a relationship with Western Province over the years, and we're just going to improve on what we've been doing. Every year I've been going and improving on our game model. we have a game profile that we use as KCB, and every year we have to keep improving it and playing the best of our rugby. We have to keep up with what's going on internationally. This is not about any season. This is about preparation for KCB as a whole going forward. Year after year after year, you have to keep improving our game profile. So improving that game profile comes with knowledge, and Western Province are the best in the business. I mean, that's why we follow them.
World Marathon champion Ruth Chepngetich has been named the LG Sports Journalists Association of Kenya Sports Personality for the month of March. The 27-year-old beat stiff competition from the other star nominees in the eventful month to win the coveted award for the second time, following her stellar performance in Japan's Nagoya Marathon. The soft-spoken Chepngetich bossed the streets of Japan the 13th of March to win the Nagoya Women's Marathon, clocking 2 hours, 17 minutes and 18 seconds, making it the second fastest ever in a women's-only marathon, behind Mary Keitany's world record of 2 hours, 17 minutes and 1 second.
I'm happy with this award. This is an opportunity for me, and I can say this is the second time winning the award. When you are disciplined, when you are focused with what you are doing, hakuna kitu yeyote inaweza kukuzuia usipate zawadi kama hizi. Hii imenipea motisha to do more in my career, to explore more and more and more. The race of Nagoya Women Marathon, it was a good race, and I emerged a winner. Despite having the Japanese and Lorna Salpeter, she's a strong lady, and I had prepared well. For now, I am preparing for the World Championship to defend my title in Oregon on July. I've started my preparation, and it is good, and I'm hoping for the best in that championship.
Now, KCB FC will be searching for glory when they lock horns with 19 times champions Gor Mahia at the Thika Stadium on Saturday. The Bankers, who lost 2-0 to an informed Kariobangi Sharks last weekend, are currently sitting 8th on the log with 39 points, while Gor Mahia are 4th on 42 points. With the end of the league edging closer, head coach Zedekiah Otieno is hopeful he can inspire his team to a top 4 finish, which is the only realistic goal for the side at this point. Gor Mahia, who were galled by defending champions Tusker in their last match, are going through a stormy patch, registering 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw in their last 5 outings.
Game at first haitakuwa game rahisi juu hatujakuwa na run poa. Pia wao si ati wamekuwa na run poa. Though being the champions wa ligi, wana experience ya ligi, tunaenda kufight a big team, a big game tomorrow. So ni about big game, big players. So who wants it more kesho ndo ata-manage tu kuwin game ya kesho. Haina ati run mbaya, run poa. It's all about tomorrow.
I think we've had a very difficult situation as a team. We've not gone this long without winning a match since I came here. But these are temptations in life. These are normal in football. So we are just working very, very hard, the technical bench plus the players, to make sure that we change things around. And one of the matches which you can change things around is against a top side like Gor Mahia. Yes, we know it's going to be a very difficult match, but I think psychologically we are prepared. We've trained well this week, and we are prepared for the match tomorrow. We've not been scoring as many goals as we would have loved to, because winning matches you need to score goals. But again, also we are conceding goals, very easy goals. So it's a combination of not scoring and letting in easy goals. So I think we've tried to work on that with the team. And normally when you score, it's all about build-up, and build-up always starts from the back. And defending also, it starts from in front. So I think we've done some build-up plays, some defending from the top, and I think we'll have a good show tomorrow.
And that sports news brings us to the end of this live broadcast. Many thanks for keeping me company for the entire length of this news bulletin. Enjoy the rest of your programming and your weekend. My name is Grace Songoi, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Boniface Morethi. Bye-bye.